Yes, indeed. European and American metal, both awesome, has to be said. Nevermore, Medicated Nation, and Luca Torelli with Rider of the Astral Fire. This is Blue Please here on WoW Radio with myself, Total Biscuit. Right. Someone mentioned in the channel something quite interesting. It's like, hey, I love how Blue Please is like not about WoW anymore. Like, well, yeah. To be honest, Blue Please has never really been specifically about WoW. We haven't spent 2 hours talking about game mechanics on this show. There are other shows which do that better. There are other shows that do... Shows? Yeah. I can't even say show anymore. There are other shows that do the lore side better, the role-playing side better, the PvP side better. The whole idea of Blue Please has always been community. Community issues, hot topics, and that kind of thing. And to be honest, it's never been afraid of grappling something that is not necessarily directly related to WoW, but may still be of relevance anyway. And quite frankly, I don't feel that that's a very bad thing at all. So there you go. That's what you're getting. Right, okay. Next issue coming up today. Yet another issue of community. But this time more an issue of what's Blizzard thinking? Why are they doing that? Now, before I start my little rant, I want you to know that if you have an opinion on this, I want to hear it. TheMurloc@gmail.com is the place to email. The Murloc. Murloc does not have a K in it, by the way. Some people think it's a warlock. No! Murloc@gmail.com. No K, just the C. Right. Now, here's my problem. Some of you may be aware that when people went to BlizzCon in America this year, they received some goodies. Yes, they did. Not only did they receive t-shirts, stickers, a embossed program, a comic, a Murloc keyring, but they did receive a quote. This is from the BlizzCon website and the sign-up. Basically, this is what Blizzard announced to us. An exclusive in-game pet. Now, for many of us, that was the biggest thing of the swag. An exclusive in-game pet, something we could show off to our friends. Say, hey, we went that extra mile, or in this case, extra 5,000 miles. And we went to BlizzCon, and this is what we got. And that pet was a Murloc. Yes, it was. A little tiny baby Murloc. Does it make a sound like this? It makes a sort of mini gurgling sound of sorts. It's great. It's the best thing ever, in fact. In the same way that those who bought the collector's edition got a panda, or a zergling, or a mini Diablo, we got a Murloc. An exclusive Murloc, apparently. Only it wasn't so exclusive, was it? And this is my point of contention. Now, when Blizzard originally advertised the BlizzCon, they advertised the swag. And those of you who have been to conventions before will be well aware that one of the big reasons to go to a convention is for the swag. The goodies, exclusives, that kind of thing. Things to say, hey, I went to the convention and I didn't come away empty-handed. I got something that was worth having. Now, that's all well and good. Now, what you've got to bear in mind is that while some people say travel to the next state, some people just travel down the street. Some of us travel from an entirely different continent. Myself, Slanik, and Kiki Jiki flew on one of those big metal tubes with wings over the ocean, which I think is the Atlantic. I can't really remember. I never did was any good at geography. We flew over to the other continent, which wasn't really Kalimdor, but there you go. From the Eastern Kingdoms to Kalimdor, to the BlizzCon, and we paid quite a bit of money to do it. Oddly enough, it does actually require a significant amount of cash spent for a 12-hour flight to the States. But there you go. That's all well and good. Did we enjoy the convention? Absolutely. Did we enjoy broadcasting it for you? Definitely. Did the swag have something to do with us going? Absolutely. Those of you who watched the BlizzCon video diary, and if you haven't, I would suggest you go and watch it now, It's on the front page of our website. It's also in the archives under BlizzCon coverage. Those of you using Firefox may need to right-click and save as. Will be aware that at one point in the video, myself and Kiki said, I think you guys deserve a reason why we're actually here, and the reason was free Murlocs. No other reason, free Murlocs. Now, while that was a joke at the time, the point still stands. Why were we there? Swag, as well as other things. How cool is it to be one of the few in Europe with a Murloc pet? Extremely. Does that in itself warrant flying to the States? Yeah, because it is that damn cool. If anything, it's more than Murloc, it's a sign of prestige. And that, hey, we're stupid enough, we are addicted enough to this game to actually fly to the States to go to their convention. Now, what point am I trying to get to? The point I'm trying to get to is that Blizzard advertised this as exclusive swag, and yet, we found out recently, decided to give it away at a different convention. Not only that, but it was a convention, it was a big LAN party called DreamHack that had absolutely nothing to do with Blizzard at all. And they were giving away prizes to competition winners. Now, some of you may say, oh, well, it's just three Murlocs we're giving away. Okay. But it doesn't really make a difference, does it? It doesn't matter if it was one Murloc or a million. The point still stands. This thing was advertised as an exclusive to BlizzCon. Something that people who went to BlizzCon could get. Now, the fact that some people who went to BlizzCon sold their Murloc is irrelevant, because they had the prerogative to do that. They went to BlizzCon, and they got the fat epics. It's like going to Molten Core and getting the fat epics. You wouldn't expect to be given fat epics if you didn't go there. If you didn't put the effort in, unless you're a complete and total moron, you would not expect free epics. You would not expect to be given it if you don't put the effort in. It's the same principle right here. If you were, say, an owner of the Collector's Edition, which I know some of you probably are, your little individual pet, would you be annoyed if that was given to someone who didn't buy the Collector's Edition, who didn't expend the extra cash or go on the extra effort to hunt it down? I'm aware that the Collector's Edition is now fetching around £100, which is significantly more expensive than it was, and it also sold out very quickly in Europe, and there are no more copies of it. Except for the ones that obviously are being sold for around £100. Blizzard aren't selling any more of these things. Heck, would you be annoyed if they decide to release more of the Collector's Edition? Because as the Collector's Edition is obviously a limited edition item, you put in the effort, you expended the cash to get it, and yet they've just, say, made it easier. What if they put those pets in all the editions? Would you be annoyed by that? I expect you probably would be. Same principle right here. I personally am very annoyed by this. Again, I don't care if it's one Murloc or 1 million. The principle stands. It was advertised as an exclusive to the con, and it's turned out that it wasn't. Now, the principle behind this is simple. A flat-out, blatant lie. As far as I'm concerned, this is a slap to the face of everyone that went to that convention. Really, that's actually what I think. I believe it's a slap in the face to everyone who went to the convention. Why? Because they're saying, well, we don't really value your effort as much as we originally claimed. We were going to reward you, but we've actually just decided to reward other people as well. They didn't go to the convention, but we're going to give them something anyway, and it's going to be the thing which we probably suspected would be the most enticing item on the list of swag for BlizzCon. Free Murlocs. Murloc pet. Let's face it, you didn't go to the convention for a t-shirt, did you? You didn't go there for the comic book or the embossed program. If you went there with the idea of swag in mind, and let's face it, most people did at some point, it was one of the factors in their decision to go, you were thinking about the Murloc. Blindingly, obviously, you were thinking about the Murloc. It's obvious. People whined that they couldn't get the Murloc because they couldn't go to BlizzCon or whatever, they said, yeah, make another way for us to get the Murloc because we can't go. Can't or won't. There's nothing impossible in this life. I'm in England and I still managed to go. What the hell are you complaining about? Oh, I have to travel one state. Oh no! I had to travel halfway across the bloody world to get that Murloc. And now they're just giving them away? Ah! Now, some people may say, oh, but it was very kind of Blizzard. You know, it's very, very nice that they gave these prizes. Sorry, what do you mean kind? It's a piece of card with a code on it. It's possibly the laziest prize I've ever seen. Kind is giving them a bloody Alienware. It's giving them a video card. Free copy of the game, maybe 3 months subscription. That is generous. Giving them a piece of card that may have been left over from BlizzCon is not generous. So it's a double-edged sword, in my opinion. It's a double whammy of disappointment. Not only do you piss off every single person who went to BlizzCon, some people may not be bothered, but I can tell you for a fact that some people are. Not only do you spit in the face of those who went to BlizzCon, but you're also lazy with your competition prizes. Wow, a piece of card. That's fantastic. I'm sorry if I sound annoyed. No, I'm not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry at all. I am annoyed by this. Now, when I came back from BlizzCon, I said, specifically, after I'd ranted about the way we were actually treated, that I would be a little less willing to give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt. This is how I've been for, say, since whenever I started broadcasting. I can't even remember now. I've always been giving Blizzard the benefit of the doubt on everything, especially game stuff. Community stuff I've been a little less lax on, but game stuff, yeah. And the general reason for that was that Blizzard knows its game better than we do. Blizzard has a plan for its game. And generally speaking, the people who are complaining about it are morons that haven't really thought things through. In this case, however, it's actually quite simple. It's a blatant case of barefaced lying. If something says exclusive on it, you expect it to be exclusive. Go and look it up in the dictionary. The definition of exclusive. Exclusive ceases to be exclusive when you start giving it away elsewhere. I find that to be rather irritating. To be a bit of a slap in the face. Let's face it, the hardcore fans went to BlizzCon. The really hardcore fans. People may say, oh, well, it's not an issue of whether or not I like Blizzard more than you do. I like the game more than you do. The hardcore fans were hardcore enough to go. It's that simple. Now, I've got a couple of replies in the mailbox, so I'm going to read those. Andrea Voratasis say, now for once I have to disagree. That's cool. Please, by all means, if you disagree with what I'm saying, then let me know. There is a difference between giving everyone who buys WoW Murlocs and giving 3 people who won a competition at DreamHack Murlocs. You say it's cheap and people who don't go to MC don't deserve fight epics. Well, sure, they did not do MC, but they 10-manned Onyxia. Don't they deserve anything? Okay, let's take the analogy right there. The analogy is that those who say don't do MC don't deserve fat epics, but they did do Onyxia, so they deserve fat epics. Here's the analogy for you. You can't get Sulfaris Hand of Ragnaros by going into Onyxia. Onyxia does not drop the necessary parts. You can't get the Saffron Drape from killing Ragnaros, because he doesn't drop it. There's nothing saying that people who do a different thing that should be recognised as a lot of effort and an achievement should receive a reward. However, they don't get the same reward. You don't go into Molten Core and get a Saffron Drape. You don't go into Onyxia's Lair and get Sulfaris. They get different epics. Giving prizes to people is great, that's fine. But not the same one, especially when you say... If you were to say in-game, for instance... You can only get High Warlord's weapons by getting to be a High Warlord, and then you suddenly make one of them a drop in Blackwing Lair. High Warlords would be a little bit annoyed by that, I imagine. And that would be a lie. It would be a broken promise. Now, Andrea says, don't they deserve anything? Yeah, of course they do. But they don't deserve that. They deserve something different. Give them an exclusive in-game pet, and that'll be great. You know, that'll be fantastic. Having 3 people with something that no one else has, that'll be great. You know, that is a good recognition. But in this case, it's a simple case of laziness. Like, well, okay, we won't give them something valuable. We'll give them a piece of card, because we had a few spare at BlizzCon. Now, Vanarus on the forums actually posted and said, we thought that, it's such a shame that people in Europe couldn't get these, so we thought we'd give them other opportunities. What about those of us who did actually go and get them? What about those of us who actually invested the time and the money to go there? What about us? Isn't that a slap in the face to us? I'd say it is. If you disagree with me, great. That's fine. Please email me. We'll discuss it on the show. But in this case, I cannot possibly agree with Andrea there, because the analogy is flawed. And it's a slap in the face to the Europeans who went to BlizzCon. It really is. That's what it represents. It's not just an in-game pet. That is what it represents to me, as someone who went to BlizzCon. You're listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. I think it's time for a little more epic. We haven't had quite enough today, so let's get on with it. Rhapsody was requested. Rhapsody shall most certainly be played. This is Unholy Warcry. Enjoy.